If you're just joining this channel, I am trying to lose 52 pounds using the ketogenic diet within the next 52 weeks. And this is the third week, so this is video 3. So for video 3, I was going to do something a little bit different. And what I'm going to do is get into some of the reasons, like why I am the way that I am, why I weigh the way that, how much I weigh. But for first, what I want to get into is a little small congratulations to myself. I lost 2 pounds last week using the ketogenic diet. So this number goes from 250 to 248. Okay, yay. So a little bit of a fail. I had myself listed on my carb tracker as being a 6'3" tall person. Obviously, I'm not 6'3", so I actually ended up having to change like my whole setup, and it took my calories from, I think it was like 1,800 down to 1,150, which for me has been fine. I've been able to eat within that range and even less sometimes, which I'm trying to keep it at 1,150, just so my body doesn't get used to eating a lesser amount. And you're thinking, I'm a big girl, yeah, but actually when I was eating other foods, it was just that I was eating really horrible foods. Not that I just like ate all day long. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and just jump into the next segment, which I'm just going to tell you about my diagnoses and how it kind of led me to being heavier. So, I was diagnosed recently again. And I say again because I was already diagnosed once when I was a 13-year-old, I believe. It was either 12 or 13, with ADHD. The reason that I got diagnosed again was because my parents didn't tell me that I was actually diagnosed with this. My mom used to tell me that I had a learning disability that I'd outgrow, and my dad said, well, my one teacher told me that ADHD doesn't even exist. And back then, ADHD wasn't commonly known for females to have. So here I am, I have ADHD, yay. If you don't know much about ADHD, it makes, well, it makes you kind of aloof, I guess you would say, in some regards. So my diet, I wasn't really paying attention to what I was eating when I was eating, and then when I did want something, I just went and I got it. So that was kind of like the problem. I was vegan for a very long time when I was younger, and I did okay on that diet. I mean, I was a size 10, which for me is, I'm actually happy at a size 10. I don't like being too skinny. I like having like muscles in my arms, but that obviously is not the case right now. So, so yeah, I was re-diagnosed recently with ADHD. And I am on medication. I just started this last week, Wellbutrin, and so far I have noticed a little bit of a change, and maybe it's a placebo effect. I have no idea. But the first few days that I was actually taking Wellbutrin, I fell asleep. Like, nobody's business. I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I could sleep literally all day. If you hear that sniffing, it's my dog, and I don't know what he's doing. I'm gonna let him out real quick. I got water. It's magic. So, with ADHD not really being studied in females, I basically was looked over for several years having ADHD. The only reason that I found out that I had ADHD was my medical records were actually pulled when I went into to see a therapist, and I had to go into do like this mental health evaluation thing because I was having some other problems. What I had was like, it was stress triggered psychosis. If you don't know what psychosis is, people can hear things, they can see things, you can see shadowy figures. No, it's not like the Ghost Adventures where they see like ghost figures or even shadowy figures. It's just like these like little wispy things that you just kind of go by really quickly. And yeah, everybody gets that thing that goes in the corner of their eye. I'm not sure if that's a ghost, but that this thing would be like in front of your vision. Um, so I had psychosis where I was not only seeing visual things, but I was actually hearing things, and I was hearing people whisper like really close to me, and I was hearing things like when I would be waking up, I would hear something yell in my ear, and it was so loud my eardrum would hurt. Um, and the reason I went in for a mental health evaluation was because I thought I was struggling with the beginning signs of schizophrenia, because schizophrenics also get psychosis. Now, having my stress under control and the paranoia down, because it caused paranoia, I thought people were after me all the time. I thought my place was being bugged. I mean, if you have psychosis, or if you ever had psychosis, it's not fun. And being that it was triggered by stress, and my whole past 5 years was extreme stress, and I mean extreme stress, it just kind of added on to the ADHD effects. And then on top of all those fun diagnoses, the last diagnosis that I actually have, and that keeps getting re-diagnosed year after year after year, because it gets reevaluated, is PTSD. And I found out about PTSD, oh goodness, it was a few years ago, and because I have a disability, which we'll get into next time, I was using vocational rehabilitation to find a job where I could actually work. And he hands me back my paperwork, and they have to do like an evaluation and get some of your medical history. He asked me, how's your PTSD going? And I'm like, my PT what? And he's like, your PTSD going? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't have PTSD. And he hands me the form that lists that I had PTSD, and it shows like I was diagnosed at 8 and then again at 18, which I had no idea what these, when this happened. And then I went to see a therapist shortly after, just to get evaluated again. And ever since then, I've been getting reevaluated for PTSD, and I see a therapist for that as well. I see a therapist for all three things. My therapist is amazing, by the way, and that's something that's really important. If you don't get along with your therapist, you don't feel you can actually talk to them, I would highly suggest changing therapists. Because when I first got into the mental health facility here, and when they first evaluated me, they sent me over to not a therapist, but a counselor. And me and the counselor did not jive at all. And she was a therapist for the same place, which is why they actually sent me to her. But the problem was that she was trying to diagnose me with everything, and I'm like, I don't have that. And as a counselor, you really can't diagnose people. Like, you're there just to be, a counselor. That's it. So I stopped seeing her, and I asked for an actual therapist, which I'm doing now. And then on top of that, I see a psychologist, and she talks to me more about my ADHD side. So I'm seeing like all these mental health professionals. If you saw me last year, I was a completely different person. There's no way that I would have posted anything online whatsoever, and there is no way that I would basically leave my freaking house. I know it sounds weird, but the psychosis was so bad, and I was so paranoid, and then being triggered with the PTSD, which is a whole other thing. It just made it impossible to go anywhere, and especially alone. I couldn't go anywhere alone. My husband had to take time off of work to take me places, even to appointments. It was awful. So the first thing for last year was to get my mental health under control. And this is my second part right now to get my mental health under control, is taking care of my weight, because I gained a lot of weight living through stress, depression, having undiagnosed ADHD, and then the PTSD. It just kept piling up, and then it just became too much for me to handle by myself. So a little side note, the first step of mental health care is actually taking care of yourself, taking a moment to think about yourself. So if there's something this week that you really want to do, get your nails done, go to that nice place you want to try out, even start an exercise routine, something, even if it's really small, like taking a walk around the block. Try it, do it. because you can't pour from an empty glass. Now, I know that for a fact because when I was going through my mental health issues and the psychosis happened, I was doing everything for my family, the most that I could, and I just kept going and plugging away. But I kept putting myself on the back burner, and that's not healthy. And I know a lot of people out there who are mothers, and a lot of people who are out there who are just like people in general, where we want to help other people. And I totally get that. I can totally relate. But honestly, you have to start with yourself. You have to start with you, because if you don't start with yourself, it could cause a lot of problems. You can get depression, you can get stress-induced psychosis. I don't know, but I'm just saying, take care of yourself. So just one thing this week, find something you want to do. This week I really want to actually make myself something, because I've been making like knitted things for my husband, my husband's boss, my son, and then I noticed that some kids around the block just didn't have like winter gear, so I knitted like little stocking caps. I'm gonna knit myself a cowl, and I'm excited because I bought this yarn a few weeks ago, and I love the colors, and I keep looking at it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to make that into something, and then I never get to it. The only thing that I have is from last year, and then that yarn, that scarf, it was my first year and my first few months when I first learned how to knit, and it's a simple stitch. It is really huge. I love it because it's like carrying around a blanket on my shoulders, but yeah, it's not as nice as the newer ones that I'm coming out with. You know, I've learned different knit patterns since then, so I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be my nice thing for myself, and I'm gonna paint my nails. And today I actually went ahead and did a face mask, and my face is really shiny and bright. Ooh. But yeah, do something for you. And go ahead and note down in the comments below what you're going to go ahead and do for yourself. And if you have any questions about like what happened or what I was talking about in the videos, feel free to comment. Or if you just want to say hi, and I'll say hi back. Alright, bye!